Good afternoon and welcome to the Happy Half Hour. I'm Leigh Kubin, Master Certified Life Coach and Weight Loss Coach.
And I'm Sandra Priestley, coach for female entrepreneurs and feng shui practitioner. So excited to chat today.
I know.
I want to ask you first. Well, I'm drinking coffee and coffee liqueur, Kahlua, which is my favorite one. I don't like any of the other ones, but that's what I'm drinking. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking a rare bourbon barrel Cabernet.
Super cool.
Super rare. One of Paul's favorites. So we are sharing a bottle before we go down. Well, probably not a bottle. We're sharing a couple of glasses before we go down to the Georgetown Square and walk around and do some last minute Christmas shopping with the kids and his parents and have
cool.
Look at Christmas lights, all the fun stuff.
Awesome. Wow.
We thought we would get in the mood, not the mood, but
yeah. Oh, that's so awesome.
So what's been going on with you this week?
Well, I had my very first coaching call with my mentor, Jana Kingsford. It was like, so good. She does these like mini coaching calls, which are, she calls them micro sessions. And they're just 20-minute calls. And it's amazing how much you can pack into 20 minutes, really, and we have 30. So, and we talk about a lot.
Right.
So one of the things that we're working on is I have this new private coaching package, and I love private coaching. I love that one-on-one. And I also love my courses, but there's something amazing about that one-on-one, deep work, And so we were talking about my private coaching package, how many people I wanted to, or how many people I could hold, and how many people I would ideally like to work with. And so she asked me what my goal was. And so, I had my large goal of how many women I think that I can work with one-on-one. And then she said, okay, so how many do you want to sign by the end of the month? And I mean, it was the day that we talked, I think it was like the 18th, I don't know, whatever Monday it was. And I'm thinking, okay, well, there's 2 weeks left. So I'm thinking 1. And she's like, okay, so sit down and let's do some belief work, right? Let's get the energy flowing so that I can clear out all the shit that's holding me back. And so this process that she does, she calls it belief ethics. And so what she does is we start with what the goal is. So my goal was signing 1 client before the end of the month. And so so that was my goal. And then I had to write out all the things that came up, all the negative thoughts that came up, why can't I achieve this? Well, it's Christmas, and why, maybe people wouldn't be signing up for coaches right now. Maybe people are spending money on Christmas gifts and not coaching themselves and not investing in themselves. And I'm writing all of these things out. And so and you kind of know when you're done, when they get ridiculous. Truthfully, one of mine was, well, I don't really want to sign anyone up right now in December because what if my house gets super messy and I don't have enough time? 1 client, seriously, I feel like I can hold that. But once it gets to ridiculousness, then it's okay, I'm probably done with all my limiting beliefs. And then she has this statement, as soon as you know you're done, she has this statement that you physically write out, and it's, I am open to believing and achieving. And it's just this, you take this deep breath and just sigh it out. It just feels
because I feel it
awesome
in here. When you said
right
that.
In your chest, right? It's just like this.
Yeah. Yes.
I freaking love it. So then after that, then you do the belief work on all the reasons why you can achieve it, right? And so I'm like, wow, this is killer. Okay, I can achieve this. I can do this. I can attract the perfect person that needs me, that wants to change her life, that like just, like that symbiotic relationship where it's like the two of us grow together. Like that's what I truly want, right? That's what I love to do. So I start writing all of these things that just are like amazing and all the reasons why I can do this. And then she goes, perfect. Now I want you to do that. Can you do that in a day? And all of a sudden, like the ass puckers up, right? You're like, whoa, no.
How am I going to do that in a day?
What? Like I was good with 2 weeks, but like, whoa, don't get crazy here. But it was like the whole amazingness of that process was initially when she said 2 weeks, I felt that, maybe I can't. What if I can't? I don't think I can. There's all these reasons. Like I felt that in my chest that I wasn't going to be able to do that. And then when I cleared it all out, I thought, this is totally fucking possible. This is amazing. I know there's a woman out there that absolutely wants to feel better, that wants to achieve more, that wants to have everything in her life, that wants someone to work with her. Like when I signed up with Jana, it was like, I am going here and I want you to come with me. I need someone to come with me and you're the girl. And so I was like, I could feel that. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, do that in a day. Whoa, full stop. What the fuck are you talking about? I can't do that in a day.
But you can.
But you can. So then it was like, okay, now you're going to do the belief work. Okay. So now I start to do the same process. Okay, signing one client in a day, finding this perfect client in a day. What are all the things that come up? And it's like, it was so amazing to me because you totally, like, I felt it. It was this physical, emotional feeling, like it was everything in me. I felt it to my core. And then I did the same process and then felt it release. And like part of the process too is like, if it doesn't happen, it's okay. We can detach from the outcome. But it was just this feeling of like, oh, what's holding me back is the belief that I can't. So like, let's get squeaky clean on all of our subconscious thoughts that we didn't even know were there, and so it's such a good process. It doesn't really matter what it is. It all works. Her process for belief. But, and then when I was using the snowblower today, I was listening to Abraham Hicks' podcast. I think it's called The Leading Edge. I can't remember what the podcast is called. And I was listening to that and it was just like, okay, it's the exact same, right? It's like, well, you've got all of these limiting beliefs and we can acknowledge that we have them and we can acknowledge that they're there and we can acknowledge that they feel like shit and we can choose the better thoughts. Like we can choose, or not better, but we can choose to believe. We can sit more so, like we're always going to have negative thoughts, but we can sit more so in the positive. And so I love the process because it's like this recognition that we're not wrong for having the negative stuff.
Right.
We're not wrong for feeling them. We're human. But if we can recognize them and then be open up to something different,
well,
that's the power.
I think in two, not getting stuck there. Because we can have the negative thought, which leads to the next negative thought, which leads to the coffee spilling on our shirt, or stumping our toe or slipping, we got to get ahead of it. And so when we recognize the thought pattern, I know for me, it's like, okay, baby, do you want to keep going down this road today? Or do you want to turn it around now? Like, what do you want to do?
Right. Exactly.
And because we have the power to understand, I'm in a funk right now, but I don't want to stay here.
Right. And it's when this is the way that I I coach, and so you can tell me if this is the way you do, but I always try to see myself as an observer of my thoughts, but not owning them. Like I always say, you are not your thoughts, or I am not my thoughts. Our brain is just like thinking a mile a minute, and we tend to like believe that it's true. We lean into all of the stuff, all that self-talk, and we start to believe that we're true. And if we can just stay as an observer of our crazy thoughts, or are an observer of them, it's like we can detach who we are from what we think. And there is power in that.
There is power in that. When you can take the emotion out of observing kind of what you're going through and look at it for what it is. And is this going to help me get to my goal?
Right.
Or is this going to keep me from it? So do I want to do this and get further away from my goal? Or do I want to not do this and get closer to my goal? And when we do it without that good or bad or right or wrong emotion, and just focus on, what do I want?
Right. What is it that I desire?
It makes things so much easier, because then we're not good or bad. Because here's the thing, when we do something that we believe is bad, for a lot of my people, it's eating, let's just say, a cookie, and that's simplifying it.
Yeah.
So they eat the cookie, or they eat a bite of a cookie. Well, then that's bad. So now, in turn, they are bad.
Right.
And in turn, they behave badly in their mind, which is to eat all the stuff. And I'm exaggerating.
Right.
But
and then they feel worse, right?
Yes.
And then it's like this compounding emotion is really hard. When we compound emotions, it's really hard to get out of them. Like when we feel guilty, and then we feel bad about ourselves, or we feel unworthy, and then we feel guilty for feeling bad, or we feel guilty for the feelings that we have. Like, whoa, like we have just put, like, I don't know, cement over top of that. Like, and it's hard to get out of that. But yeah, if we can stay as an observer of, like, that's an interesting point of view, or that's an interesting thought, or why,
or is that true?
Or is that true? Right.
Or is that bullshit?
Yeah.
Because sometimes the thoughts are complete bullshit. And sometimes I laugh at myself.
Well, like, I mean, this is exactly the same as me going, well, you know, I shouldn't really sign a client right now, because, like, what if I can't clean my house? Like, the client is not moving into my house.
No.
You know, it's not like bed bugs. Like, like I get to choose my time, and I have the time. I've cleaned out, like, the space. I've made the space in my schedule for this client, and for more than one. So it's like the thoughts that are just ridiculous, you don't even know that they're there. So it was like such a freeing process, and a interesting process of just being an observer of my emotions when the time frame was shortened. You know, like, it was like, ugh. Anyway, so powerful. I flippin' loved it.
But that puts in such a good perspective, because we think, oh, I can do this in a month. I've got a whole month to do it. But it doesn't take a month.
Well, and what do? We then procrastinate until the 30th. And then it's like, shit, didn't hit my goal. Now what? Now the panic is on. And I used to do this when I was a Beachbody coach all the time. You know, it was an MLM, and they wanted you to sell so much. And I was the one that could do everything in the 11th hour. Did I need to? No. But I spent a shit ton of time procrastinating. I spent a lot of time.
Done it all up front, and then built on that.
Right. I know. Like, anyway, it was just like, it was such an interesting process. And I really do love, like, this idea of just sitting as an observer of my thoughts and my emotions and my physical response. And that's all that I'm about. So it was super interesting to kind of go through that with her. But anyway, yeah. So that was my week. So tell me what you did this week. Like, I feel like this is going to be so good. You were telling me a little bit about this book that you were reading, and I'm like just fascinated.
Think and Grow Rich from Napoleon Hill. So you know me, I get these nudges like, go here, do this, read this, listen to this. Like, I trust it. And
what I love is that you follow it.
Yeah.
Like you get these nudges and then you follow it. Like you get a nudge, Sandra, we should do a podcast. And then you reach out to me, right? Like it's like, that's like the amazing part.
I'm really serious.
I know. Okay.
Well, I've been reading like kind of old school stuff lately. The Game of Life and How to Play It, that came up in a group I'm in on Facebook. And I was like, well, that sounds interesting. But I do kind of feel like the universe leaves little breadcrumbs, like, come this way. Come check this out. And that was a very interesting book. It's written so long ago that the wording in it, you can tell that it's not model. And Think and Grow Rich is similar. But I want to talk about sex. From drinking.
And this is, okay, now this is the thing that's interesting to me, because in a book called Think and Grow Rich, I do not know how you shifted to sex.
It is not me. I'm not just making things dirty. There is something, it's called sex transmutation. And that sounds really like weird or scary or.
In this book that was written in the 30s.
Right.
Okay.
So they're not talking necessarily, he's not talking, yes, physical sex is necessary and helpful. It can also be dangerous, because if you are ruled by just having sex, then you go down a whole different. So it's not about that. It's about being controlled, but it's about taking that sexual energy and almost channeling it into other areas of our life. And as a weight loss coach, it's interesting because over the years, I've had so many couples, and it's not limited to couples, but they're the ones that tend to open up more about it. But what happens in the relationship as they get busy, they're raising kids, they forget about themselves, they don't have time for sex, their intimacy turns out to be eating. So they're not having that energetic thing to funnel into other places with hobbies and careers and maybe careers a little bit, but not the passion.
Okay.
And they're eating. And that's kind of where that's what they do together, is their intimacy is through food.
Right.
Well, in looking, especially after reading this book, the majority of them, and I would say all of them really, not only restored their sex life, but the hobbies that they're doing, the volunteer opportunities that they're doing and giving back to their communities, the career changes and growth. And so what they've done is taken that sexual energy. I'm not talking about the act of sex. I'm just talking about
the energy, that passion. Yep.
Funneling it into somewhere else. And I know exactly what he was talking about. It's almost to me like the Abraham term of being in the vortex, where all of the good stuff is and all of the ideas flow. And when we're in that space, we can create anything. And when we are not in that space, we're going, what am I going to do next? Or where's the client going to come from? Or give me a donut. But it just fascinated me because I started thinking about it differently, and I started thinking about what I've noticed about my couples. I was really kind of limited in what I was looking at, because I encourage hobbies. I encourage them to get out and be active and do things that feel good
Mhm.
as well. But I never really tied it back to it being that sexual energy in a different form.
Right. What's interesting is that we don't like, so from what I'm hearing, I could be wrong, but
Okay.
it's like when you have this energy, you can often choose to funnel it into a different area, but you don't
Mhm.
have to.
Mhm.
It's like an old, like there's a lot of it. So it's not just one thing that you forsake for another. It's not, but it's like
Not
this,
high.
right, right.
There is enough.
There's enough to go around. You're not going to
Mhm.
run out.
No. But I
That's
think
so
what
fascinating.
is that it felt like passion. You know how you get passionate about an idea and you're like, oh, I want to do this. Oh, this is going to be so amazing. Whether it's us putting the house, oh my gosh, the house that we just put up, had built last week for the grandbabies for Christmas. I cannot wait to give that to them. It is
Aw.
absolutely amazing. But the passion to, okay, I've got to do this. And it's in the family area. And
Mhm.
kids playing in their house, in our family area of our yard. Like, how freaking perfect is that?
Yes.
You know?
Oh,
But it's that kind of thing. It's that the things that make us feel alive. So
mhm.
yeah, sex makes us feel alive and restores energy and gives us all of that good stuff. But so do a lot of other things that we miss
So
out
true.
on. Mhm.
So
Because
true.
we feel that fire, like do this, and I don't have time for that. I don't have money for that. I'm too tired to do that right now. Instead of getting up off our butts
Mhm.
and doing it, because every single time we follow that nudge, our energy is restored.
Totally.
You know, it's like at the end of the day, needing to go on a walk or a run and going, oh my God, I'm too tired. I've had too much, and shutting up and putting on running clothes and getting out there and doing it. At the end of that, when I walk in the house, I have never once said, I wish I hadn't done that. I'm always
Right.
like, man, I feel so good. My energy's
Mhm.
back. I'm ready to finish the night. And sometimes it's hard to go to bed.
Yeah.
Even though when I drug my butt in the door, I thought, I'm not going to make it to 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, and this is the manifestation energy.
Yeah.
Like it's like that's the thing. It's like no matter what you're passionate about, no matter what, when you feel that in your body, like when you feel that, that's the best time to manifest, right? Like that's that manifestation area um energy.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's
And when
amazing.
you're in that energy is when you get the impulse. Oh, call this
Right.
person, text this person, do this, and which
Yeah.
leads, those are little breadcrumbs
Yeah.
on the path.
Yeah, it's those like divine messages, right? Like
Yeah.
the messages from the universe that just kind of hit us. Those yeah, those like channeled messages.
Mhm.
And that's the thing is like what I really talk about too is like acting in the moment, taking that, like Abraham talks about, that inspired action, right? Like, because when we take it in the moment where we feel it in our bodies, like when we take action in some way, it's like that's the magical part. Like that's the manifestation magic, is when we feel this so flippin' deeply and we just like get this like overall full body chills. This is the right
Yeah.
thing to do. It's the same as when I signed up with my coach. Like it made zero sense. It made zero sense. I like to change it up. Like for me to commit to someone for a year that isn't my husband, like it's, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
for me to sign up with a coach for a year makes no sense, but it was right. Like I felt it in my body. It was
Yep.
right. And that's this like, and it felt like excitement.
Mm-hmm.
It felt exactly like that energy you're talking about. It was like, oh, this makes no sense, Cam, but I know it's right. I'm going to do it.
Yeah, you were totally in the vortex.
I was.
Yeah. I think we've been in the vortex a lot lately.
We have.
Yes.
I feel like every time we record,
yeah,
something freaking magical comes out. We
Yes.
go into the vortex.
Oh, yeah, I would agree with that. And
Yeah.
then we go out into the world and sprinkle little vortex crumbs everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Spread love, joy, and happiness.
Yeah.
Half hour at a time.
Half hour at a time.
I love it.
So
Oh my
Christmas
gosh.
is like a few days away. What are y'all doing?
Well, we are going to have our charcuterie night. So yeah, so I have like this relatively good sized kitchen island. And so we're going to cover it with charcuterie things. So I'm going to have charcuterie and wine. I am telling you, I bought so much that it is going to, I'm going to be eating cheese and meat forever. But I got some really cool ones. And so we're going to put that over. So it's going to be charcuterie and wine, and then chicken wings and beer. So whichever vibe you want. So yeah, I think it's going to be fun. So it's just going to be, I guess, 9 of us. So it's going to be small and COVID friendly. In Canada, we have been given, or in Alberta anyway, free rapid tests.
Nice.
So yeah, so everyone can take this rapid test. So in advance, that everyone is safe and you can kind of feel better. So that's what we're gonna do. And then Christmas, we're just gonna have the turkey and go to my mom's. So it's gonna be fun. What about you?
We are going to Paul's sister's Christmas Eve, and Paul's parents will be there. And then Saturday, or Christmas Day, Logan and Mona and Maria will come up. And of course, Lily and Eric and Easton are here.
Oh, nice.
And we'll have Christmas morning here at the house. And we'll open our presents, and then we'll go outside and see what Santa Claus brought, and they'll see their house.
Aww.
And so excited. And then the rest of the family will come over, and I'm making gumbo.
Wow.
So we'll have gumbo on Christmas Day. And
I've never had this. I
wish I could ship it to you. I do make pretty good gumbo, or at least my family.
You'll have to send me the recipe, and then we'll try it. But I feel like
I've been doing this for 30 years. And I mean, I really do. I start with my roux, and there's no recipe. It's just, you sort of eyeball it. Like, I get my roux. It almost looks like fudge.
Okay.
You can't burn it, but it's a dark chocolate brown.
And it's just flour.
It's flour.
It's just flour and oil. Okay. So it just cooks. The flour kind of cooks.
You gotta stir it in the cast iron skillet, and you do that for an hour, maybe. Just sit. And yeah. So and then you start throwing everything in. But that determines everything, because if you fuck up the roux, it's no good. Got to start over.
Well, here's the thing. I can't make gravy. So I feel like gumbo may not be my best ever, but I will try.
When we connect, whether we come to Canada, because like this needs to happen at some point, for real.
Yes.
I'll make some gumbo.
Oh my gosh, I would love it.
Oh, we can have an episode where we're in the kitchen cooking gumbo, talking about all this stuff.
Oh, that would be so good. I will just watch. But we could do it together, but
You can chop the veggies and
You
keep
can-
my wine full.
you could teach me and laugh when I'm a really, really good cook. Can't make gravy for my life. I don't know. I can make fancy, beautiful dishes that are just and I love to cook. I have a newsletter. I have my favorite recipe of the month that I put, and gravy's not it. Also, rice. Can't cook rice. Seriously.
Well, get a rice maker and buy canned gravy. Problem solved.
Problem solved.
Well, girl, we are out of time.
Oh, so
This
fun.
is good. I'm so excited to see all of the stuff you manifest and all of the stuff I manifest by default, just by recognizing these things. This is amazing.
I know. I'm so in love with this podcast. You have no idea. It's so fun.
The highlight of the week for sure.
It is. Every Thursday, I love coming to chat, and I can't stop talking about it. I'm so excited for all the people who just want that injection of happiness and belief and possibility in their lives.
Because here's a quote: anything the human mind can conceive, the human mind can achieve.
Yes.
I ran across that today, and I've heard it a gazillion times, but it's so true, and we forget that. We can have anything we want. We can create anything.
It's
we
true.
Gotta it. All we gotta do.
Yeah.
And
master our minds.
Yeah.
Master our mindset, right? Really. Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Okay.
Well, enjoy your family, and
you too.
Thank you guys for joining us today. Happy holidays, and we will be back next week to see you on the Happy Half Hour.
I'm excited. Can't wait. Bye.